The way money moves matters. MasterCard Move can enable fast and transparent money transfers to billions of people. A fast refund saves your customers time and lets them focus on the things that matter, which can earn you their loyalty. Money sent, smiles received, priceless. Services may be provided by MasterCard Transaction Services US LLC and MLS ID 900-705 or its affiliates. Learn more at mastercard.com/move.
Your body is capable of much more than you know, if you give it the right fuel. Just one breath into your lumen scores your metabolic flexibility and gives you personalized nutrition insights, showing whether you're burning fat or carbs so you can adjust your diet and take control of your health. Visit lumen.me/podlmn. That's lumen.me/podlmn. Use the code PODLMN to save 15% off your Lumen device today.
Hi, this is Farnoosh Torabi, host of the Webby-winning podcast, So Money. If you're aiming for a goal, be it saving for a house, growing your family, or retiring, life makes it difficult to stay the course. But with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. Having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill's with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Hi, I'm Kara Berry, host of Everyone's Business But Mine. Think of me as your new friend and fellow busybody as I talk about everything under the pop culture sun, from the best way to detect a celebrity breakup or pregnancy, to recapping your favorite reality TV shows from the Housewives cinematic universe, Welcome to Plathville, Kardashians, and so much more. So check out Everyone's Business But Mine, airing multiple times a week everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And we are quickly approaching the end of Season 13. This is Sister Wives Season 13, Episode 9, Kody's Secret Plan.
There is light at the end of this tunnel. The Season 13 recaps, boy, they were a challenge.
They're just so long. I don't know why they decided that the last two episodes of the season would be just separate 45-minute episodes.
But thank you.
Thank you. But also, why did the rest have to be so long? Because most of this was just listening to them talk about how they're going to be moving.
They have decided to move to Flagstaff.
Every time you sing that, I have no fucking idea what you're doing.
You still don't know that song? You gotta go learn it.
From what?
From church.
Well, there's a reason I don't know it.
It's true.
Okay, what are we talking about in this episode?
So the TLC description for this one is the sister wives announce to the kids that they've bought land in Flagstaff, Arizona. I thought it was Kody that announced it anyways. And they plan to move there within a month. Kody secretly has plans drawn up for one giant polygamist house.
Also known as the Biggie Housey.
It's the birth of Biggie Housey.
Oh, that was the whole thing?
That was it. Period. Okay. End of sentence. Sentences.
That really is pretty much all that happened in this episode. It's just, we're moving. Let's talk about moving. We actually don't have a plan to move.
There's like 5 different conversations about moving, but yeah, all trying to come to a general consensus of what exactly are we doing in this move? Because for this being the most planned and thought out move that they've ever had, it's still pretty much a shit show. But let's go ahead and hear the Carly episode rewrite description for this one.
The Browns dig up a time capsule and fondly reflect on their broken dreams. Kody keeps a secret that could get him murdered. Christine invites Aspyn over to talk about the move and gets red for filth.
Aspyn is just as confused as the rest of us. We are all questioning the sanity of the decisions that are being made.
Doesn't that tell you something, though? Will anyone ever know the reason for the move to Flagstaff if the people within the family don't even know why it happened?
If Christine's own parentified daughter doesn't know, I don't think anyone knows.
We do have some announcements this week, as always, but these are exciting.
We have our Let's Talk About It episode coming out on the Patreon this week. We recapped My Big Fat Fabulous Life,
Which never disappoints.
Season 12, Episode 3. It was a weird one, but we caught up on the first 2 episodes as well, so there is kind of an overview catch-up recap that takes place for the season so far.
And then the next thing we've got coming up for Let's Talk About It is going to be an AMA, or I guess an AUA, Ask Us Anything.
I guess, yeah,
Plural?
we could do that. It's our 4th annual Ask Us Anything, so get your questions ready.
And head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/survivingpod.
This week, we're also doing a crossover with We Love to Hate Everything, Jody and Amanda. We're going to be guest spotting on Browntown this week on their YouTube. You can also catch the podcast version of that as well.
And I am so excited. They're going to be joining us over on Surviving Reality. We're going to be doing, I guess you could call it a mini-sode type episode where we're going to talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard Anderson, soon to not be Anderson.
She's got a lot of last names that we're going to have to add and hyphenate.
So that'll be kind of just a conversation talking about the show on Lifetime, what's been going on social media, and hot takes on Gypsy and her life.
Again, that is over at Surviving Reality, which is our sister podcast to this podcast, where we've been recapping Plathville in its entirety on a week-to-week basis. So it's going to be a bonus episode this week, so keep an eye out for that over on that feed.
And the last thing that we got is just what's happening with Sister Wives Season 19. We are recording this a little bit earlier than we typically do, so I'm hoping nothing new has come out between now and the time this drops, but we still don't know when the show is going to air again. I think my gut is telling me no earlier than mid to late September. The schedule for TLC at least shows us that Forbidden Love is on through September 8th. It's as far as we can see right now. I do feel like a trailer is going to drop soon. If it's coming back in September, we should be getting a trailer.
And maybe that's what McKelty meant when she said Sister Wives will be returning in August. We'll be seeing new footage in August as part of a trailer because it'll be a month out from when the new episodes actually start airing in September.
And it's suspicious that Mary's out in the streets doing interviews again. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Her interview she did with Jen on the Sarah Fraser podcast over on Browntown. All right, let's get into this episode because we started off with an awkward situation on the couch between Kody and Mary.
It just seems to be, like fights that are happening between Mary and Kody that we all just get to sit in on and be a part of. But what I was taken aback by was Robin's entryway and the number of boxes that she just has scattered about her house.
Well, she's packing. They're getting ready to move.
I feel like that's part of the excuse that she gives.
There are always boxes in her entryway, but to be fair, these I think were moving boxes, not boxes that came into the house from things that she ordered online.
There are boxes that are in the corner of the living room that look like moving boxes. The boxes by the front door do not look exactly like what I would classify as moving boxes.
All right. I mean, I'm going to give Robin the benefit of the doubt with this one. She's got a lot of shit to pack. A lot of little trinkets that got to go in little boxes that are breakables.
I just love when Janelle walked into the house and she does a quick scan of the entryway and she judges. You could tell on her face. She's like, what the fuck is going on over here?
I think she's wondering, damn, was I supposed to be packing already?
Well, that too. Oh man, I'm really behind schedule.
I'm pretty sure she's moving into a rental that is furnished. Janelle is. I think she's just thrown a lot of shit out when she moves.
Nothing wrong with that. We've done those. Donate what you can. Dump everything else.
But on the couch, Mary's talking about how she is definitely moving with the family.
And Kody is annoyed by this. Now he's sick of hearing about Mary moving with them, even though he asks for confirmation every single time they've talked about the move this season.
I'm telling you, it's not confirmation. He was hoping she would back out, and now she hasn't, and now he's annoyed. He doesn't want to hear about how she's coming with them.
Well, now it's a problem with Mary, because now she's always constantly reassuring us. So it was at your request to get this. And so now Mary has made it a point. Every time you bring up the move, I'm going to tell you, I'm moving with you.
I feel bad for her because he talked her into moving to Flagstaff, using the family funds to buy this land because they were going to have this new future together, and they have not even left Las Vegas yet, and he already is looking at her like this bitch eating crackers. He's so annoyed with her. Promises were already forgotten and broken.
But this isn't the first time that Kody has promised a bunch of things to his wives and then moved, because this is probably, the 20th time, I think, when they sat down and counted? So 20th time's the charm. Cody's making the big announcement to everyone here in the living room. We have closed on the property in Flagstaff. We own it. But I think we should probably put quotation marks around we own it because, we're mortgaging it and we've sunk pretty much everything into the down payment. We didn't really pay it off. And now all our financial assets are residing in this plague-infested pond.
Sorry, was everybody here to hear the announcement?
Oh, right. Has anybody seen Mary? Oh, she's right here.
I'm glad he figured that out before he started talking shit about her because she was on the couch.
He was a breath away because Robin had to point Mary out very quickly. She's right here. Don't say anything else. So good. Okay, we got her.
The kids do have some initial concerns. Truly is asking about the Wi-Fi again. Has that been connected? Can someone confirm that I'm going to be able to access the internet?
Here's the kicker. Nobody gave her an answer. Because they never plan on setting up Wi-Fi at Coyote Pass. There is still no Wi-Fi at Coyote Pass, as far as we know.
That's true.
Technically. So that's why they couldn't say, yeah, there will be, because there's no plan for any of that to happen.
Wait till she finds out there's no electricity or sewer lines.
It's okay. It's all part of the deal we negotiated where we're going to pay for all of those utilities and pulling of those
I'm sure
lines.
it'll get done quickly.
It's going to be great.
The kids are understanding at this point. They're prisoners. They have no choice but to go to Flagstaff. So they've decided they're not going to put a fight up anymore. It has been a while since we've heard from Gabe.
Yeah, he's not ready to talk about any of this. It seems like we do get a little bit of him in the next episode, the preview that was at the end of this one, where he gets upset about some stuff because I think it's becoming a real thing. They're getting closer and closer to actually moving.
Are they, though?
Well, kind of.
They set this whole plan in motion because the kids had to start school in August, and they had to get ahead of that. And now we're only 6 weeks out from school beginning, and they're talking to the kids about it. We're trying to figure out when we can all move because they all have to go together. That's what Cody's vision is for this move. And what that means is that we might not get there until a few days before school starts. Now, don't panic, but is that okay with you?
No, it's not okay. And it's not what we talked about, and it's not what you assured me on either. So none of those things are good, and I'm not interested in any of it.
I find it deeply upsetting that the one thing that the kids asked for was to be there with a few weeks to spare so that they could adjust to their new environment, get ready for school, move into their house, and they're not going to fulfill on that.
When Mary pointed out that school starts in 6 weeks, I knew that this was going to be a problem because we already had Savannah who was asking for 3 weeks to get settled in. There's no way these people are going to be moving in 3 weeks.
No, this has devolved into another moving shit show.
So there's zero excitement from the kids for obvious reasons, but Kody is really trying to get people pumped up. He's looking for more of a reaction. He's not feeling good about this yet, but he is still forcing everyone into it. And so now we're going to kick the kids out. They weren't hyping this up enough. We got to dump some of that negative energy here. So we're just going to focus in and talk with the parents about the logistics of moving, which ain't much better.
No, the gold standard of Brown family moves, according to Kody, was leaving Utah for Vegas.
The move to Vegas, in Cody's opinion, was the best move that they ever did. What? The one where you were being chased by the police, according to them. You had to move within, it was like a 3-day span. Dude, you left half of your shit in that house.
Maybe that's why it was the easiest move.
That was why. You didn't bring everything that you had. You left a ton of stuff in that house. But to think back fondly on the Flea High move, as a person who actually had to be involved in that move, I don't think I'd be able to. Flat tires alone.
No, they're like, I'm sorry, the most traumatic thing that has ever happened to this family is what we should be attempting to recreate with this move?
Go back and listen to our recap at the end of season 2, and you tell me if that sounded like the most successful move that anyone has ever participated in. I'm going to disagree with you.
Kody is like all over the place because he's talking about that as though it was this positive, fond memory. And all of a sudden, it's coming to his mind that they're going to be moving and they're all going to be living far apart from each other. And that's going to be rough. It's going to do things like impact everyone's relationships, the sister wives' relationships with each other, their relationships with him, his relationships with his children.
Yeah, because Cody's pointing out that since they moved to Vegas, they've been missing some family unity for some reason, some unnamed reason, some unknown force that is just causing a wedge between Kody and the rest of the family. What could that possibly be? Some mysteries.
Or who could it possibly be?
Some mysteries are left unsolved.
Isn't that a big red flag that you live in what should be the best situation you've ever had? You are in the same cul-de-sac together. You can see each other every day, and yet you feel that far apart and disconnected.
And they're talking about, oh, it would be great if we could just pick up the Vegas cul-de-sac and then drop that down in Flagstaff, Arizona. But they know full well they're not going to be able to recreate any of the housing situation that they have right now for years to come. So they're going to be living separately, spread out all over Flagstaff for the next 1 to 2 years minimum.
And the most telling part of this conversation, knowing how everything plays out in the next few seasons, was when Janelle questions how that might impact the family culture.
Janelle's voicing concerns. Again, she goes to the example of Savannah being alone at school. Seems to be a trend where Savannah is alone a lot.
I think the thing that is alarming about this is they knew going into it that they were probably going to have an issue with having a connection between the family and that the kids would really only see each other at school, and that they didn't do a good job of combating that.
Because Robin fell in love with the family culture before she fell in love with Kody.
Sure.
She fell in love with all of these potential babysitters, all the free childcare that she then rejected outright when they moved into the cul-de-sac in Vegas. I like the idea, too, that Kody just wants to feel like they're doing stuff together. He wants to feel like this is something that's happening in unison. This is something that we are collectively working on. The move to Flagstaff is our bonding ritual now.
Well, that's where there's this disconnect, because Kody wants them to have these moments of unity, but then he wants to be primarily at Robin's house.
So it's not lining up, because then Mary's getting confused too. Mary's trying to offer up suggestions of, well, I can help people move. I can help with things, but I don't even know when I'm going to move myself because I don't have a place where I am moving. I don't have a rental lined up, which is when Robin comes up with the brilliant idea that we've never heard before of what if we just stagger the moves then? Why do we all have to move all at once? Can't we go one at a time? Where we go one at a time? Could we?
Where we go one at a time and in an organized fashion.
But this is exactly what Mary was saying. Christine had already offered, I'll stay in Vegas. I'll meet you guys there. And then everybody poo-pooed that idea. And then Mary had the same thing because she's like, well, I'm having trouble finding a rental, so I guess I'll meet you guys there in Flagstaff whenever I get around to it, when I find a place that's suitable for me. No, Mary, we're all moving together. And now that Robin's finally coming around to like, this is a little complicated to get all of this stuff lined up and have everyone move at the same time when Christine's not closing on her house until the week before school starts.
Did you think he was receptive to that? Because I didn't think he was.
I don't think he was, but now this is Robin being okay with it. So now maybe she can talk Kody into being okay with that too.
Well, Robin's got lots of solutions, because if Christine's not going to be able to move in her house yet, you could just move in with me in my rental.
That'll fix it. That's exactly what Christine needs right now with where she's at in her relationship with Kody.
Is to live with Robin and Kody?
To be right in there, right in Robin's house.
That was a no for me, dog.
Christine almost threw up in her mouth on the couch when Robin looked over at her and offered that up. Christine was like, no, please, no thank you, Daddy.
And Kody has to jump in and cut Christine off as she's talking, because he's going to have to position this in a way that's going to make it palatable for Robin to hear about why her fellow sister wife would not want to live with her. even for a temporary period of time.
Because Christine then jumps into an answer of not only just saying no thank you and politely refusing Robin's offer for a temporary housing situation, but Christine then continues on to remind Robin, we don't live together anymore as sister wives in the Kody Brown family. That's not what we do here.
Did you see the alarm on Cody's face?
Oh, yeah, because he knew exactly, she's already talking about no biggie housey, and that's what he's going to be drafting up plans for this week.
And then Mary makes a joke to Robin about how she has no idea the issues it creates when sister wives live together.
Well, that's true. She does have no idea.
Well, we know how that upsets her because she wants to know what it's like to live in one house together.
She wants to experience that.
I just think these were little moments that meant a lot more when we find out about the plans Kody is working on.
I feel like this is all a blessing in disguise for Robin. Robin would be the worst person to live with collectively under one roof with multiple sister wives. She's a monogamous woman. Why is she going to want to do that?
I am convinced that Robin thinks that the reason she doesn't have a bond with the other sister wives is because they've never lived in one house together.
But I think it's more so the fact that you continually refused to rely on the other women in the cul-de-sac to help raise your children, and you brought in Mindy instead.
Well, in the way she came in and Kody commandeered Cody's time. Their relationships with Kody shifted when she came into the family. And I think there's resentment towards her for that. They don't have a close bond.
But it's never addressed because you can't bring anything up to Robin because then she immediately goes into full victim mode and how you're the worst person in the world for even bringing this up. Nobody else is allowed to have negative emotions except for Robin.
And Kody.
Well, eventually it becomes Kody too because then they get really enmeshed. But that's how it starts off. Yeah, you can't have these conversations. You can't bring these things up.
No, and you especially can't because then Kody will be mad at you.
You're just part of the problem. I need you to be part of the solution.
That is definitely a Kody Brown attitude.
I believe it.
Well, Mary's coming up with her own solutions to problems. She's thinking, maybe I'll just buy an RV. I'll park it outside of your houses. That's what I'll do in Flagstaff. And when you piss me off, I can just drive off into the sunset, go somewhere else.
Mary simultaneously pitches the RV solution that Janelle comes up with in later seasons, and also Cody's solution of the barn dominium that happened at the end of season 18 as well.
Well, she's bringing it up here as a joke. So the fact that it then became a serious thing later on, that's pure comedy.
Jokes that turn into reality. Sometimes that's just how it goes. You speak it into existence. When you have Robin at the table with you and the amount of manifestation that woman goes through, you got to be careful what you say, what you're throwing out into the universe.
I gotta say, the craziest part of this whole thing was when Robin then questions Kody on why he's rushing them to move.
Yeah, I mean, what's with all the crazy urgency to move all of a sudden? Where's it coming from? This is a panic that's in the air.
What is happening? I don't understand why she's not panicked. Your kids have to start school in 6 weeks. Also, usually college starts sooner. So isn't Dayton starting maybe a week or two before that? We're not worried at all?
You all were the source of the urgency.
You created your own timeline.
You said we need to move in before school starts. That was the urgency. That was the deadline cutoff because the triplets need to be there for their junior year of high school.
Because if we're not concerned about that at all, then why did we rush into buying land and moving, committing to a move?
Also, because you're rushing the market, the housing market. That was the other imminent collapse that Kody was trying to get out in front of.
This is where I just feel like Robin got what she wanted. So now she's not in a rush anymore. They're going to move to Flagstaff. The excuse of the kids needing to be there for the start of school doesn't seem all that important to her.
But then Kody starts running down the bills because this is stuff that Robin never looks at.
Oh, she doesn't care about that.
We have tripled our housing costs because now we bought land in Flagstaff. We have houses that we're still paying mortgages on in Vegas, and now we're adding rentals in Flagstaff that we are moving to. So we now have 3 sets of housing costs, and so we have to get rid of these houses in Vegas to eliminate a cost and funnel those funds into the rest of what we're doing.
That has no impact on her because every morning she wakes up and she says an affirmation in the mirror about how wealth is going to return to her. I really think that's the way she sees money. Money's not real.
And I mean, I wouldn't argue with it. It's a
All
imaginary
right.
concept.
They
but
need more of it.
in this, yeah, it's the Robin Shark Tank pitch of The Wedding Singer, where there's a jar on the top of my refrigerator. I've got some money. That's where you come in. I'd like to put more in that jar. But look, don't stress about this move. Just go. Don't think about it. Just put stuff in boxes and get out of here so we can sell these houses.
It just is really unbelievable how they all clearly did not think through the consequences of every aspect of leaving Vegas.
No, and I'm absolutely convinced that Kody cannot see past whatever project he is actually working on, whatever task he is currently undergoing. That is it. That is where his foresight ends.
Oh, I was worried you were going to say something
No.
else.
No.
All right. Well, instead of packing, they're going to hold an open house, and it's not the kind of open house that they should be holding.
Exactly what I was thinking as well. Yeah, this is not the open house you guys need to be putting on right now.
This is another one of their post-wedding welcomes where they have everybody come over for a meal to celebrate Aspyn and Mitch. And there's a theme. Christine and Robin worked on this together, actually. I want to point that out since, Christine was the worst sister wife to have ever existed and never had any type of relationship with Robin. But they planned this Scottish feast together.
Because it's an old world Scottish feast theme. Continuing with the trend, because if you couldn't remember, the theme of the wedding was bagpipes and kilts. And they just got back from their honeymoon too, which was, guess where? Scotland and Ireland.
Can I challenge you to try to do a Robin voice, but in a Scottish accent?
She did try to do a Scottish accent when she was talking about...
When she said Scottish feast.
Old world, the Scottish feast. I don't know what that turned into, but it was just...
No, you can definitely do a Scottish accent, but not combined with the Robin one, huh?
Well, it's too accurate then. Yeah, I'll have to trim down on the actual Scottishness of the accent.
She couldn't do it either.
She didn't do, it was not good.
One thing she does know about Scotland, people throw food over their shoulders.
But please don't do that at Christine's house.
I think they have been doing that at Christine's house. Did you see the walls?
Well, yeah, maybe they did. They needed to
I think it
clean them.
explains some things.
That does put some puzzle pieces together here. Maybe that's what Robin's been doing. But then Christine is asking her yet again, please, do not throw food over your shoulder in my house. Please stop doing that. I can guarantee that Ari's been doing it.
Well, that's why Robin's confused. Don't you have a Mindy to come behind and clean everything up?
Oh, no, that's weird. Yeah, not used to that.
Nothing really happens at this. Kody gives another speech, which was a much nicer speech than the one he gave at the actual wedding. It was a little more sentimental. I think Robin was top of mind.
Oh, very much so. Robin was the muse for this toast because he was talking about, I hope you spend the rest of your lives looking into each other's eyes and asking, where have you been all my life? Which I'm sure he's speaking from a place of experience with his relationship with Robin. That's something that he asks her every moment of every day.
Where have you been before all my wives?
Yeah, slight alteration. We also learned about flossing and how it's a stripper move.
Oh.
The dance.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that scene.
Not the dental hygiene flossing. Very different.
Something tells me our freaky bitch has not had a chance to show off her moves. At least not in the confines of a bedroom.
She's a little rusty. But we did end up seeing some stripper moves from Christine at her next wedding. There was the full-on lap dance that is burned forever into my mind.
Yeah, no, that's never forget.
So that wasn't flossing either. I would have taken flossing at that point.
Really, all this is highlighting for them is that they have no idea when they're all going to be together again for an occasion where everyone's able to gather. Because they're all going their separate ways. Most of them are moving to Flagstaff. Others are going other places. They're thinking that, Maddie and Caleb are going to go far away at some point. They're not going to be in Vegas anymore. And so that's kind of a depressing thought that maybe they should have considered before they move someplace where none of their family is.
Yeah, denial was kind of kicking in for Aspyn, realizing this was going to be one of the last places. Truly, definitely doesn't want to move. This is where she grew up. Vegas is where she spent her entire life, which I forgot until we got to this point. Because, yeah, she wasn't around during Lehigh.
She was.
Well, she was.
She doesn't remember the days at the crib in front of the gun safe.
Yeah, she was not out in the world as an autonomous individual yet.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Need a holiday gift that will keep her sparkling all year long? Blue Nile, the original online jeweler, has experts on hand 24/7 who can help you find the perfect piece. Beyond that, Blue Nile makes the gifting experience easier than ever with guaranteed free shipping and returns, as well as a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Right now, get 30% off jewelry at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com for 30% off. BlueNile.com.
Hi, this is Farnoosh Torabi, host of the Webby-winning podcast, So Money. If you're aiming for a goal, be it saving for a house, growing your family, or retiring, life makes it difficult to stay the course. But with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. Having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill's with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Holiday magic is in the air, and DSW's got all the shoes to make your season extra merry. Believe, you've got parties to attend and lists to check twice, so DSW is taking care of the details, like gifts to make their eyes all aglow, styles that bring joy to your world, brands everyone wants, like UGG, Nike, Birkenstock, and more, and deals to make your budget bright. Find the perfect shoes for you and yours at a DSW store near you or dsw.com.
Cue the fireplace and your favorite fall movie. There's nothing better than a cozy evening at home with a glass of First Leaf wine. First Leaf is a personalized wine club that delivers right to your door. Sounds magical, right? They get to know your favorite tasting notes, which varietals you enjoy, and whether you prefer sweet or dry wines. So in every shipment, you get bottles tailored to your unique palate. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/fall to get your first 6 wines for just $44.95 with free shipping.
All right, well, let's talk about Kody. He's been keeping a big secret that we're supposed to believe only we know, which is that he's going to draw up plans for one big house.
Well, and Christine knows that Kody has a secret, but she can't draw it out of him. And normally, Kody leaks like a sieve.
I don't know. I took this scene in a much more depressing light. When she finds out that supposedly none of the other wives know, she likes it because it's fair. It would be unfair if one of them knew and the others didn't. But then she's pretending to joke with Kody about wanting to know the secret. I think that she really did want to know because that would create some intimacy of knowing a secret with him.
But then also you're going against what you just said. It's not fair when one wife knows a secret and none of the others do.
Yeah, but that happens in this family. And she knows it happens. And she wants to be the wife that knows the secret sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. This is a secret that Kody knows. I cannot share this with Christine.
No, she's the one who will hate it the most.
Very much
There's a reason I'm not telling you. It's because you're not going to like it.
But come to find out, Christine's just extra sensitive today because she got some paperwork that they had to sign about the land, the property in Flagstaff that she had to sign as a single woman, and that really hit her where it hurts. She gets all that title of single woman with none of the benefits.
Well, then Mary comes in with the negativity on the couch because I would rather sign single than divorced. Just saying.
Don't forget, it can always be worse.
Signing divorced really makes a woman feel demoted.
Literally. Well, and Janelle was saying that she doesn't care. She files single. But technically, Janelle and Robin could check the divorced box too if they really wanted to.
That's true.
So I guess that's why they don't really care. Christine's the only one who's never had a status change on a legal form. Single forever. Forever alone.
The moment when Robin tries to reassure Mary that her marriage wasn't a failure, but then proceeded to rub it in about how she made all of Robin's dreams come true.
Yeah, it worked out great for me, though, Mary. Thanks.
I achieved all of my goals. I got my kids adopted. I got legally married. Thank you for that, Mary.
It was definitely a sacrifice for my greater good, not the greater good. It was for my greater good. And you're living proof of that, Mary.
No one wants to address the fact that Mary actually got divorced. They kept saying it was a paperwork shuffle, but she has no relationship with Kody. So it was a real divorce.
Well, and here's the thing, too, is like for Mary to feel like it was a failure because in her eyes, she thought this was going to be the thing to win favor with Kody again. So technically, it did not work the way she thought it would, and it did fail in that way. She did not get Kody back. He is not impressed with her any more than he had been previously.
You know what, though? If these plague women want to be recognized as legal spouses, we're going to need them to stand up and fight for their rights.
Well, Cody's going to need them to stand up and fight for their rights because that's not something that he can do anything about. He's blaming polygamous women for not fighting for their rights.
I'm sorry, except for the time that he sued the state of Utah and then ended up making it worse for them.
Well, that, and then anytime they've tried to go to a women's march or any sort of political form of protest or a movement that they wanted to be involved in, he didn't think that was a very good idea because we should save all of that energy for our polygamous march instead. Maybe pipe down over there.
You don't think he's a fan of women organizing?
Just in general, yeah, I don't think it's something that Kody supports outright.
Well, it's time to go head to, what was it, Scottsdale? Did I make that up? Somewhere in Arizona.
It's not Scottsdale, I don't think.
What it wasn't was somebody local to Flagstaff who is familiar with city ordinances and rules. That's who it was not. This is Don King, not Don King.
Not Don King, yeah. It's there's no fight being scheduled. We're not weighing in.
No, this is a female architect. And Kody has specifically sought her out because he can't have a man build this house, even though he's literally going to dictate every aspect of it to her.
Well, yeah, he needs a woman's touch to finish it off. Oh, God.
You walked right into that one.
Oh boy. Oh, and Dawn has a Himalayan salt lamp behind her. I think she's going to need a new one of those after this meeting with Kody. A lot of bad energy.
That was a massive salt lamp.
It was like a meteor. Just plopped right down behind her there. I have concerns.
We get the whole spiel from Kody. He's got 4 wives. They each need their own space. But the catch is it all needs to be under one roof.
And Dawn opens with the question, well, what do you want to see in the house? And you can see Kody in his eyes. He ponders for a second. I don't know, Robin? Probably just Robin. I want to see Robin in the house. But he wants to feel like they're still a functional family, even though he knows damn well they're not.
Together but separate and not equal.
Very much so. Yeah, because we're going to go down the square footage list here in just a moment. You're going to find out about how not equal we're talking.
We all know what happened with the Biggie Housey. We saw the final plans. We're going to have a communal living space that Kody starts referring to as his area. And then we're going to have each of the wives' wings or apartments off to the sides.
So that's what Dawn starts sketching up immediately. She starts with a centralized location, and then she does like a hub and spoke. She's drawing Newark Airport is what she's drawing.
I have to say, I'm going to criticize Dawn here because what was this? Why would you start with a circle?
This was like the pods that they build on Mars, like the plans that they have for that, where it's like, oh, you got the big dome, and then you have a tunnel that you crawl to, and then another dome over there.
You're an architect, and the first place your head goes is to have a circle in the center and then just rectangular wings attached to it off to each side of it, 4 little spokes coming off of it.
Well, we want it to be, the individual areas, the domains that we're trying to look through here. But Cody's seeing too many different shapes that are not connected. And he's like, look, that's going to be a whole bunch of money on construction. I don't have that. Can we do more of like a Sims house, just boxier?
Less walls.
More square.
He's not wrong. Wouldn't it be expensive to build that stupid house, and who would ever want to buy it?
Well, he knows that Mary's not going to want to move there if it's going to be a bunch of circles.
That's true. We can't have a circle in the center.
We have to go boxy. We got to go bigger, square.
He'll never be able to sell the idea to her if there's a circle in the center of it.
And that becomes the delicate dance that Kody has to do now, is where he's balancing between convincing the wives that these are all separate living areas. These are all separate domains that are within the one house. But while he's simultaneously convincing the county and the state and the local government that no, it's actually one big house for my one big family, because it's all one big thing. Please don't sue me.
Now we get down to business, which figuring out how much space each wife is going to get allocated to them is always a touchy subject. And Kody doesn't really seem to be doing a good job navigating that based on the opinions we've seen in the past.
He says that he's discussed some of this at length when he's talking about Janelle's square footage needs. So I don't know if that was
within the context of the Biggie housey.
If it was part of this move or if he's just using carryover information from when they were building their houses in Vegas. I don't think he remembers that far back. It's been about 5 years. When's that hard reset that happens for him? Probably every 3 years, maybe? He redefines his entire history.
I think he forgets a lot of what the wives say within a week or two.
Minutes.
A day or two.
Yeah, seconds.
Well, he has quickly forgotten Mary's opinion that even though she only has one child, she deserves to have equal space and be an equal wife because he is going to give her the least amount of room, 1,500 square feet.
He's talking, so for Janelle, he's saying between 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. Christine, about 2,500 square feet.
They're like equal.
For Mary, he's saying 1,500 square feet.
Even though she runs her business out of her home.
That's what I was going to say, was that wouldn't even fit her business, because he was complaining about how she's looking for 2-bedroom apartments in Flagstaff that won't even fit her business. Why are you trying to build that in on the Biggie housey with that amount of square footage?
It might be an even bigger problem for the county if she's running a business out of the home.
Well, now you have a apartment dwelling, shared townhome situation that you're running a business out of. These are problems. Problems on top of problems now.
You know who is not downsizing at all, though? Robin.
Well, technically she would be, because her current rental is 6,800 square feet.
Okay, well, that thing is ridiculous. It's a monstrosity that she does not need.
But she still has 5 kids. They're all at home forever. They're not going anywhere. So 3,500 square foot. That's where the other 1,000 square feet from Mary's section went.
So they're basically just going to build the Vegas house onto the side of this one for Robin. That house is about 4,000 square feet, I think. So we're pretty close. She lost my sister wives' closet, the office.
Well, I guess you gain a bedroom too, because Mindy's not living there.
Was Mindy living with them? Maybe at some point.
I think she was for a while there.
Well, that just surprised me because Roar and Brianna can't share a room.
But this is where Kody has to get into the nitty-gritty details about why we can't have primary bedrooms that are shared wall situations between wives, different areas. And Dawn seems to be picking up what Cody's putting down very quickly here. She's like, oh, I get it. Say no more. But then Kody just continues to say more.
You know what? We might actually need to soundproof these walls.
Some reinforcement.
I gotta know, who's the loud wife?
They have to feel safe in an intimate world.
Well, I guess you could put Mary's bedroom anywhere, because nothing's happening in there.
But please, don't share it with a wall with anybody else, because she's not going to be able to handle that. The main reason that Kody starts giving for the soundproofing is that Ari is up late. She's a night owl. She doesn't sleep. And Janelle's usually up around 4 o'clock in the morning.
She's nocturnal.
Yeah.
Does she have rabies? This is the second time I've accused someone of having rabies within a couple of episodes.
Yeah, I think so. Again, I don't think she has a fear of water. I think that's going to be the big one. Lockjaw, though? That might be a hereditary thing. Zing!
And Janelle's up at the crack of dawn, sometimes before it.
Very much before. At 4 a.m., that's the middle of the night still. I'm sorry. The sun isn't up for 3 more hours?
What, Janelle, what are you doing at 4 a.m.? Nothing's open. No one's awake. Does she water the garden at 4 in the morning? Or does she garden at 4 a.m, if you know what I mean?
Oh my. Well, she would have her own domain to do that in, her own dominion in the Biggie Housey. That's Kody's plan. But this is a big ask for any architect. And Dawn's like, can you give me a couple weeks on this? I got to think about this because I have no idea what I'm going to do here.
We didn't get off to a good start.
I'm still thinking about the bedroom notes, and I have to process a lot of that for a little bit more here. So give me some time. I'll get back to you. Don't call me. I'll call you.
Ready to pop the question? The jewelers at BlueNile.com have got sparkle down to a science with beautiful lab-grown diamonds worthy of your most brilliant moments. Their lab-grown diamonds are independently graded and guaranteed identical to natural diamonds, and they're ready to ship to your door. Go to BlueNile.com and use promo code LISTEN to get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more. That's code LISTEN at BlueNile.com for $50 off. BlueNile.com, code LISTEN.
Hi, this is Farnoosh Torabi, host of the Webby-winning podcast, So Money. If you're aiming for a goal, be it saving for a house, growing your family, or retiring, life makes it difficult to stay the course. But with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. Having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill's with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Indecision. Overthinking. Second-guessing every choice you make. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Beige on beige on beige. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
Where'd you get those shoes? Easy. They're from DSW. Because DSW has the exact right shoes for whatever you're into right now. You know, like the sneakers that make office hours feel like happy hour. The boots that turn grocery aisles into runways. And all the styles that show off the many sides of you, from daydreamer to multitasker and everything in between, because you do it all in really great shoes. Find a shoe for every you at your DSW store or dsw.com.
It is a new day in the cul-de-sac, and they have something to do that they've been putting off for a couple of months, which is dig up the time capsule that they always intended to unveil in 2018. It was supposed to be on Kody's birthday.
They had buried it on Kody's birthday. It was like right after they moved into the cul-de-sac, but that was in 2013.
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
So they were supposed to dig these up 5 years later at the beginning of 2018, but it is now mid-2018, summer 2018. So they're about 6 months overdue. They've been meaning to get around to this.
No one remembered.
Was that
Let's be honest. And then they were like, oh, you should probably dig that up because you're going to be moving, and then you'll never be able to get to it again. It was such an unimportant event that nobody remembers where it's buried.
Some people have documented evidence of where it is. Mostly the filming crew who's still standing behind you with more cameras now. It's the same people that have been here the whole time.
And apparently Robin, who actually took a photo and included measurements and put together a very organized documentation of how to locate this thing again.
Here's the thing. She took a photo. I don't think it was all those other things that you described. I don't think...
She said she had measurements.
The photo that I saw didn't appear to have...
It didn't look anything like the location that we were now in.
Correct. And it didn't appear to have all of the scientific documentation that you're referring to.
Why did they not put something to mark the spot where this was? Because then they've gone through and they've redone the backyards. They've run sprinkler lines. They've done other things for the house, and apparently this thing was just buried underneath all of it.
Yeah, they did place a very large rock over it, but then the rock was also buried. So it's not a good marker spot to go with. And yeah, now that you're trying to sell these houses, you're about to rip up the water line that you've just laid for the gardens. Not good.
If that's all they did to these houses, it would be a good day.
It's going to hurt the resale value, though, a little bit. So don't ding it. Be careful. I also loved in this segment that we had Kody, the man who was most concerned over COVID in 2020, using his nose to swipe open his phone.
I forgot about that.
So that was a thing that happened. Christine kind of tried to hold him accountable to it. She asked, what did I just see here? And he just moves right past it. He's just checking the weather. Don't worry about it.
He strikes me as someone who would refuse to use facial recognition to unlock his phone, but then will do things like that because he isn't able to actually type the passcode in.
He's leaving plenty of DNA in a lot of places where he shouldn't be.
Right. Well, it doesn't take them long, actually, for the Brown family. They did a pretty good job of locating this thing.
Surprisingly, yeah, they get the job done, and it's quicker. They're able to dig this up and retrieve it. But also, there's more people materializing in the backyard as we're digging. There's just more and more people showing up. But they were able to remember where this is and dig the hole down to it and recover this before Robin could find a photo on her computer and print it out.
Oh, I believe that. Do you know how long some printers take?
I know how long I would expect Robin to take, because she probably had it on her camera and then she was trying to figure out how to print this out so she could take it out to them.
She's got 63,000 photos on that camera.
So she had, about 180 SD cards to go through. And then she did finally find the right one. And then she had to get it to her computer, and then she had to print it out. So
the printer was probably out of ink.
That too.
Had to replace the cartridge.
She had to drive out to Office Max. She had to go pick it up, bring it home.
$60 later, she's got that picture.
And we didn't need it because we already did it. All done. Thank you for that. Robin, everyone's go-to gal.
Comes through again.
Coming through in the clutch, as always.
Well, this is the most exciting part because now they get to open it. And all of the kids were able to bury something. And they don't all remember what they put in this thing, which is a cooler. I was kind of impressed by the amount of stuff that they managed to fit in there because it did not look that large.
Kody did make an attempt to seal it, but the glue didn't really hold. So some of the newspapers and items that are in there got a little mildewy.
Well, no shit. You buried this thing in the ground in Las Vegas, where it's regularly in the hundreds. And then the sprinklers rained on it.
Hundreds Fahrenheit for the international listeners. It's very hot.
That glue never stood a chance.
Well, yeah, and then they installed the irrigation right above it, too. They did not plan for that. It wasn't a watertight seal.
So what do we have? We had Truly put a little purse inside that she doesn't ever remember seeing in her entire life.
I have no recollection of this. I don't know what this is. I've never seen it before.
McKelty's one ugly studded shoe is on the table.
Great.
You buried one shoe?
Maybe,
what happened to the other one?
Okay, so maybe she only needed one shoe because there. Okay, hold on. Hear me out. Ready? There's some symbolism here. She was actually burying her fashion passion. So
okay.
She was burying the dream
of being a fashion designer?
Of fashion design in general, with the one singular shoe, and that kind of culminated in the entire storyline for that.
She did love to draw shoes. There used to be lots of pictures of shoes on the wall. I guess this was one that she really, 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 really liked. It was the height of fashion.
It was pretty chunky. A chunky heel with some, what was it, sequins on it? What was it?
No, they were like studs.
Rhinestones? Oh, studs. Oh, boy.
Like mother, like daughter.
Oh.
What did Robin bury? Because baby Saul was actually a baby at the time. He opens this box and discovers a brand new fucking watch inside of it. She buried a brand new watch.
You know how mad I would be if I was Janelle? I'd be like, you buried a watch? You're just burying money in the yard? Because it's not like a $20 Swatch watch.
No, of course not.
We only have the finest, the best of the best.
That was a sterling silver watch.
Melted down from the My Sister Wife's Closet inventory, custom made, custom designed.
I'm sure it was engraved and all.
Kody was impressed that he left the plastic on the face of the watch. Did we establish that this was still working? Did the battery explode in there in the heat? What happened? I mean, I get it. They buried it low enough. It's probably...
No, it's probably garbage.
It's probably geothermal.
That was a waste of $100.
I think we're talking couple hundred minimum.
I don't doubt it.
This
Robin.
wasn't just a $100 watch.
No concept of money. Those were some of the things the kids buried. You know what? I didn't put a note about McKelty, but her comment annoyed me so much that I have to go back and say it.
Oh, the letter. Yeah, this was when we got to the letters portion, when everyone's reading the letters to themselves that were addressed from 5 years ago.
It seems like Leon didn't bury an object. Instead, they buried a letter, and they're reading whatever they wrote. And McKelty goes, wouldn't it be funny if you wrote that you hoped you'd be out of the closet by now?
Leon didn't seem to really enjoy that joke. But
no, because it was not a funny joke.
It's not a joke. Yeah, that wasn't a good joke.
And it annoyed me, so
It's more insensitive, yeah.
Felt the need to mention it.
There you go. Okay.
Be a little more clever. Between yelling out the thing at Aspyn about the lingerie looking better on the floor, and then shouting at Leon about coming out of the closet, the dots are connecting for me on why she's not everyone's favorite.
There's plenty of other people who I'm not fans of who have letters in here too.
Oh, yes. The things that the adults buried were by far the most interesting.
Well, and the most absurd, because at least the children buried actual things that held meaning to them, at least at the time. Now we get the musings and the ramblings of these 5 adults in the cul-de-sac who are flying high at this point. They just moved into these brand new homes, and you get kind of a glimpse. It's very poetic, actually, because you get a glimpse into this mentality of they had just moved to Vegas. They had just built these houses. They were moving into the perfect scenario in the cul-de-sac. All of their problems were ending at this time when they're writing this. They just won their lawsuit with the state of Utah. They're going through all these different idealistic things, hopes and dreams.
The most laughable of which is that the homes would be paid off by the time they dug this time capsule up.
Well, I mean, kind of. Loophole. If you sell the house, you pay it off. So, I mean, technically they weren't wrong. Is that why Kody was so apprehensive about digging this up now? Is because they hadn't paid off the homes yet and he didn't want to look like a fool with these letters that he wrote?
He totally forgot what he wrote in here. I love that these were hopes and dreams for the future, and most of them don't remember what they wrote.
A lot of them wrote the same things, which makes me feel like they're just phoning it in.
Yeah.
They asked what everybody else wrote, and that was what was on their paper too, because everybody was thankful that they'd be paying off the houses, 30-year mortgages in 5 years.
And that polygamy would be decriminalized, and that they could live in peace.
Because remember, their lawsuit with Utah was at the forefront of their minds, but it was struck down on appeals. So they were flying high for a minute there.
And then it backfired on them.
And then it just got worse. So the goal was always to move back to Utah, but now it's too scary. It's not safe, which is now what we're feeling in Vegas. So we got to go somewhere. Flagstaff it is.
They're all fun. These letters are full of hope and joy. And then Mary reads hers, which is mostly about improving her relationships with everyone in the family, including Kody. And she's realizing none of this stuff actually happened.
You know, yeah, Janelle is trying to be encouraging about their relationship because that's one of Mary's top things that she wanted to work on there was to work on the relationship with Janelle. And Janelle's like, yeah, we're working on it, Mare, huh? Any day now. We're getting there.
You know, it's funny that she said that because I feel like Janelle has been outwardly mean to Mary throughout this season and some of the last.
Yeah. So for Janelle to try and convince Mary that, yeah, they are in a better spot than they have been, I don't think that's resonating with Mary right now.
It doesn't feel like it to me.
No, not
I'm just
at all.
a bystander. Also, My Sister Wife's Closet was supposed to be a huge success.
Big paychecks rolling in from My Sister Wife's Closet.
Whoops.
And their success from a real store that they were going to open.
Maybe that's what all the boxes by the door were at Robin's house.
The inventory?
Yeah, it's already packed up. It's in the original boxes it came from the warehouse in.
I get the feeling that they are paying for a storage unit. There's some other hard cost that's associated with the My Sister Wife's Closet inventory that's still happening.
And then they chat about the object that she buried, which was a Claddagh ring. But not a Claddagh ring, the Claddagh ring, which Kody does not even recognize as the ring he gave to Mary when he proposed to her.
Well, because Cody's like, oh, what? Didn't I melt that down? I thought I could have sworn. Didn't I melt that down?
He melted down his wedding ring.
Right. Oh, that's right.
That made this much more interesting to watch because she makes a comment about how things like this mean something to me and gets very emotional talking about it on the couch. And it kind of makes me think that perhaps the time that she buried this ring coincided with when she found out Kody had melted down his wedding ring.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody's looking back on this same way that Mary and Christine's conversation was going about how things were in a bad spot with Kody when this was happening, because it was 5 years ago. So I can say that things were in a bad spot then. There's some distance behind it now. We're good now, but
everything's great now.
5 years ago, perpetually, every 5 years ago is fucking horrible. And it's better now than it was then. So I think maybe this was a realization point for Mary where she was kind of figuring out that the cycle is continuing. We're just changing Vegas out for Flagstaff. She kind of had that feeling just
she
from
had
the
to be
onset.
suspicious.
Very much so, where she was just kind of going along with it, but they keep pushing for all this stuff, and we got to go now. And no, we can't wait to find a property that we all agree on. What are you, crazy? We got to go now.
Well, that was fun. Before you all leave, I got some important news. We're not going to be moving until a week before school starts, so sorry about that.
Sorry, Savannah. I loved Gabe's silent thumbs up. That was all they got out of Gabe this episode. Was, hey, actually, we're not moving until like the week before school, okay?
He's probably thinking, awesome, we're getting closer and closer to this not actually happening.
Anything that gets us, to stay here longer, I think Gabe would be on board.
Because no one's actually sold a house yet. They did buy this land that they could just turn around and sell again. I think he hasn't given up hope that maybe the move won't actually come to fruition. Well, they have loose ends to tie up before they head to Flagstaff, one of which is taking Isabel for one last appointment with Dr. Camp.
So just to catch you up on this, her curve was at a 42-degree curve. It's been about 42 degrees for a year or so now. And remember, that cutoff point is 50 degrees on the curve. That's when you really need to look at surgery. So they're keeping an eye on it. She's going for her routine checkup here, another x-ray to see where she's at.
This was just sad, as it always is every time that they talk about going to see Dr. Camp and Isabel and her scoliosis, because she puts a lot of emphasis on it being her fault if her curve has gotten worse. She's doing all of these exercises. She feels like she's going to disappoint Kody if he finds out that it's moved more than 42 degrees.
And she's working hard. This is not something that you just put on and forget about. These are exercises that she's doing for 90 minutes a day. She doesn't have time for social life or extracurricular activities. It kind of stunts her in a lot of different ways, physically, emotionally, socially.
It's taking up a lot of her time, focusing on being the one responsible for addressing her scoliosis.
The other thing that I was picking up on this, because we've kind of established all that stuff on previous visits, the other thing that I heard was Isabel mentioning people who have had surgery where she was talking about it negatively, like they're in pain after surgery. Everything hurts because you have these two metal rods in your back. And I feel like that was just off, because the pain that you usually end up with is because of the curvature in your spine. That's the physical issue that's happening.
She talked to someone who didn't have a great experience, it sounds like. And now she's scared. She probably was scared already. Why would you not be? That's a really terrifying thing to be having to get surgery. Never mind to be a teenager and know that you're facing a surgery and that they're going to put something in your body that's going to be there forever.
Where are these stories coming from? Did Kody send you these articles? What's happening here? Can we get a fact check on some of this stuff?
Well, not great that we're going in with that mindset, because Dr. Camp does the x-ray and it comes back and it's 44 degrees. So it's progressed a little bit further than where it was before.
But he has to explain again, there's margin of error every time we do these readings, and then we're kind of basing it off of that. What you want to be aware of is if it's progressively getting worse, consecutive visits where the curvature is getting worse, that's when you need to take these considerations for surgery into account, and also being above the 50-degree mark.
So that's kind of where Dr. Camp lost me. He said basically two things that Christine and Kody latched onto and then decided to forget all of the other facts about the situation and focus on those. One, Her curve is moving, but it's very slow. So it's possible that it may take years still before she gets to the point of needing surgery, if that even does happen. And then the margin of error. And they've just decided, oh, well then we're just going to pretend it's not actually 44 degrees. It's less than that.
We'll just chalk it up as a math error and say that the curve is at 38 degrees instead. Delusion is the best way to go. Because the way they both smiled on the couch after they said, I'm just so glad that her curve is at 39 degrees in a joking manner was haunting.
It's very upsetting knowing the way things worked out. And we're going to close out this episode with Aspyn. She is upset about the move, we know that, and Christine is having her come over to the house to talk about what's going on, the plans for getting to Flagstaff, all that jazz that Aspyn really isn't interested in.
I thought, did Aspyn come straight from a stakeout or something? Is she an undercover cop? She's rolling up in an Oldsmobile and but she's going to talk good cop, bad cop with Christine about the move to Flagstaff here.
Christine is really, really bad at having emotional conversations. She has not gotten any better since we saw her confront Mary in the library, because she opens this one with Aspyn by telling her, you can be as angry as you want to be as mad as you want to be. That's what I told your sisters, so you can do that too, okay?
I mean, it's not going to change anything, but yeah, you can be as angry and upset and frustrated, however you want to do that. Go ahead, because it's still going to happen, though, okay?
It's so dismissive, just like the way she spoke to Gwen when they were at Cottonwood, and Gwen said she didn't like it. She's like, well, that's okay. You don't have to live here for very long.
It's only 3 years of your life. You'll be out soon. Don't worry. But Aspyn's worried. She's not even part of this move. She doesn't have to go to Flagstaff, and she's freaking out about it because she's just as confused as the rest of us, like we've already said. What is the deal with these parents?
The most confusing things seem to be, number one, why are they moving? Why have they chosen now to be the time that they're leaving? And then why did they choose Flagstaff, Arizona? Because her plan this whole time was that she was going to move with Mitch back to Utah after she graduated. And that is because she thought that the family would move back to Utah eventually.
It seemed like Utah was the destination. Everybody thought that was an end goal, but it just didn't pan out that way.
No one can answer why.
I mean, from the legal standpoint.
The only argument is the whole thing about polygamy.
And you sued the state of Utah, so it's usually not a great idea to move back to that state.
Don't the Dargers live in Utah?
I think so, yeah.
The Dargers have gone on TV.
The
Dargers have written books.
They didn't sue the state. Oh, you're saying
that might have been the mistake.
I think that's a big one. That's hard to take back and to adjust from that. But yeah, I think I get what you're saying is that the Dargers are living polygamy in Utah. There's a bunch of people in Utah living polygamy.
They're kind of acting like they're the only people who are living openly in this way, and that if they were to go back there, they would be persecuted for it publicly. And I'm just not fully convinced that they would be the target that they think they are. Obviously, it doesn't matter because Christine returns a single woman.
Yeah, I was going to say.
As she always was, technically.
Christine always wanted to live by Aspyn, but she can't do that in Utah as a polygamist, is the clause. Yeah, that's the clause that we need to put at the end of that sentence there, because she did move back to Utah pretty much as fast as she could as soon as she left Kody.
And the only answer we get as to why they need to leave Vegas is that Christine doesn't like the vibe of the city. She's done with this state now.
It's not safe. That's always the definitive answer that they can give. The city doesn't feel safe anymore. I'm done with this state.
Oh, and the houses have a lot of equity, and I kind of forgot that part of it.
Yeah, not to make money a big deal here, but we do have a lot of equity that we're looking to cash out on.
Do you see, though, that is an afterthought whenever they talk about this.
Well, and then Aspyn immediately follows it up with, well, aren't you moving to Flagstaff that has a higher cost of living and a higher housing cost per square foot basis? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but just don't think about that. Aspyn does not understand, like, what is the deal? There's nobody nearby. What are you running away from this time? Is it just Kody trying to whip everybody into the same frenzy because that was the best move they ever had was from Utah to Vegas? And so now he needs everybody in that same mindset so they move with the same amount of urgency to Flagstaff. But what are you running away from this time? Yourselves?
Yes. They all should have gone to therapy to talk about this because I genuinely believe that a big part of why they move so much is because no one is happy living plural marriage. And they're always imagining that the next destination is going to be the thing that fixes their lives for them.
So Aspyn is now asking Christine, why isn't the cul-de-sac good enough? Why is Flagstaff going to be better? Why are you constantly searching for something else on the horizon? And Christine doesn't really have a good answer for that. I mean, she's kind of going into about how the cul-de-sac is perfect. And if they could just pick that up and drop it in Flagstaff, that would be great. They're just not comfortable in the city, in Vegas, where they are now. I feel like this is a bigger issue, though, that kind of ties into kind of that manifestation mentality that Robin seems to be such a big fan of.
Yes, Robin's obsession with vision boards and affirmations. And I'm not saying that those things are all negative.
No, and I want to make that abundantly clear. If you're doing that, I'm not saying that that's a negative thing in and of itself. What I'm saying is if you don't practice gratitude in addition to that, then you're just constantly chasing pipe dreams.
Yes, and I feel like that's what Robin does.
So if you're not able to appreciate anything that you do currently have, you're always going to be chasing after what's the next thing I can get? What else can I get my hands on?
Or the next thing that has been laid out for me in life, because I think that this plays very deeply into their belief of destiny and that these
You
things...
mean destiny.
Destiny, right?
Yeah.
These things are meant for them. That's why affirmations and the idea of manifesting something, that it's going to just come to you because you desire it.
So that feels like probably the direction that Aspyn's kind of trying to point her in.
I don't know if she even knows that that's part of this.
I feel like, well, maybe not that specific mentality, but I think that's what Aspyn is asking. Why aren't you able to just appreciate what we have here? Choose to be happy where we are in Vegas for the time being, maybe eventually Utah because that's closer to family. It doesn't make any sense to say you want to be close to family and then you're continuing to move further away from family.
And you want to cash out on these houses and make some money, but then you're going to go spend it all.
So that...
And then some.
This is all contradictory. And so she's trying to get that through to Christine, and Christine's not getting that memo.
No, and nothing she's saying is convincing Aspyn that this is the right thing to be doing.
Well, Christine starts coming up with whole new reasons for the move. I think I'm just a nomad. I think it's just, I just move.
It's just in my DNA. That's just what I do.
Every 5 years, I just move. That's just kind of what it is.
She did do that again.
She did. She did. But it's just like, I don't need to be anchored anywhere because, I just move around. I don't need a home base. Everywhere's home, wherever I go. Everything's temporary and it's whatever.
But don't tell Robin that because she'll cry.
That will break her. If you bring that up about the Flagstaff move, she's not going to like that at all. Please don't bring that up.
Aspyn has more sense than any of these adults because she's pointing out that if you guys aren't thinking that Flagstaff is the final destination, and Robin never wants to move again and thinks that that's what we're doing here, it seems like you're not all on the same page and that might potentially create future problems.
Can we just reach a consensus as 5 adults who are sharing their lives together? But I think what Aspyn isn't realizing at this point, a lot of people weren't realizing, is that it's not. We don't have a collection of 5 adults making decisions together. We have a monogamous couple who are dragging 3 other wives along for their ride.
They're going on this adventure into Kody and Robin's dream for the future.
And Aspyn at this point is just thankful that she's out of the house. She does not have to move to Flagstaff, and she can stay wherever she picks.
Yeah, she's not stuck in the chaos that's created by these people anymore.
She is counting her blessings, something that the Browns need to be doing a little bit more of.
Next episode, Kody sees the plans for his one giant polygamist house and loves them, but his wives may not. Just weeks away from leaving their homes in Las Vegas, tensions run high. Robin presses Kody to settle down, and Gabe walks out.
Is she going to be sewing those roots onto Kody's feet?
I think she's successfully trapped him. She's the legal wife, and they've spent all the money that they have. We're not getting any further than Flagstaff.
End of the line. Everybody off.
Thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify.
Be sure to chat with us about the episode on our Discord channel by joining our Patreon, patreon.com/survivingpod.
Stay tuned, share with friends. See you next time.
Cue the fireplace and your favorite fall movie. There's nothing better than a cozy evening at home with a glass of First Leaf wine. First Leaf is a personalized wine club that delivers right to your door. Sounds magical, right? They get to know your favorite tasting notes, which varietals you enjoy, and whether you prefer sweet or dry wines. So in every shipment, you get bottles tailored to your unique palate. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/fall to get your first 6 wines for just $44.95 with free shipping.